Good morning. I'm Kurt Ollmann. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Savannah. Working to build a diverse, multicultural, and beloved community, we celebrate the presence and participation of people of all races, genders, sexual orientations, abilities, and ethnic and national origins. We welcome you on Zoom and in person, whether you know yourself, whomever you know yourself to be, and wherever you are on your journey. If you're visiting with us, we would like to introduce yourself. Please rise or raise your hand. An usher who was to be Jane, but, oh, there she is. An usher will bring you a microphone. If you're newly joining us on Zoom, please use the chat to say hi, and I will share with the congregation. Are there any visitors on this side of the sanctuary who wish to introduce themselves? I see a lady over there, or a person, I guess. Who knows if she's a
Good morning.
We're Sabrina and Leo Jones from Paint Branch in Adelphi, Maryland.
welcome. There's a lady over
On the other aisle.
Good morning. I'm Amy Hansen, and I've lived in Savannah for 3 years and been wanting to come and check out your service, and today was the day.
Welcome. How about on this side of the sanctuary? Yes.
Good morning. My name is Robin Kemp, and I'm a New Orleans native, but I'm relocating to the Savannah area, and I come by way of south of Atlanta.
Welcome. Anyone else?
Good morning, everyone. I would like to introduce our guests this week. About 30 years ago, when I was in high school, in Sheffield, Ohio, our high school decided to do an exchange program with a school from Sheffield, England. And the headmaster came over with 20-some odd students, and we became really good friends. And when I went over with my group, I stayed with Sarah and Graham. And they are here now. They've been friends of ours that long. They've been at our wedding, and we've done traveling together. So they've come over from Sheffield, England, to visit us for a few days, and then they will visit some other friends that they came to know from that first exchange, and expanding outward from that, all the relationships that have happened. So this is Graham and Sarah Elliott from Sheffield, England.
Welcome. It's good to have all of you with us. Please join us in the social hall for refreshments following the service. You'll find the social hall in the next building by following the crowd through this door or the main doors, or ask the ushers. 2 cards in the pew in front of you help us gather information for the good of our community. Use the rainbow chalice card, either the QR code or the space provided, to write your contact information, to sign up for our newsletter, and to receive a welcome letter from our minister. Zoom visitors may contact our administrator via the email address, which I've put in the chat. To share a joy or sorrow, please use the card with the red heart and chalice. Zoom participants may type joys and sorrows in the chat, and we will read them aloud in the service if you wish. If you fill out either of these cards, please put it in the collection plate a little bit later in the service. Church announcements are mailed to members and friends on Tuesdays and Fridays. Check your email for complete details about the following. Next Sunday is our annual water ceremony. Please bring a small splash of water symbolizing your summer activities. Don't miss the Rolfus Goodbye Party, September 9th, 5:30 to 7:30 here at church. Also, we need a cleanup crew for that. Contact Jane. You can get the details in the newsletter. There will be an adult faith development course on Tuesdays from 7 to 8:30. in Ron Hall from September 12th to November 7th. There's a social justice kickoff meeting September 24th after the service and reception in Ron Hall. Volunteers are needed for the WRUU's fashion show fundraiser September 30th. Volunteers are needed both now and on the day, September 30th. And Judy Saucerman's Covenant Group, which meets on second Sundays from 12:30 to 2, is seeking new members. You can find the contact for Judy in the newsletter. And be sure to come, if you're not interested in the water ceremony for its own sake, come for the choir. The choir will be returning next week. Now, with the lighting of our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, we enter into sacred time. Our chalice lighter this morning is Oliver Flaherty. Today's chalice lighting words are by Mark A. Hicks. Love is the chalice that holds the oil. Love is the oil that feeds the wick. Love is the wick that burns with abandon. Love is the flame which dances an ancient pattern. We light the chalice of love.
Your body is a site of liberation. It doesn't belong to capitalism. Love your body, rest your body, move your body, hold your body. Our opening hymn this morning is number 407. We're going to sit at the welcome table. Before we sing, I have a few words. I have more than 50 years experience in more than half a dozen Unitarian Universalist churches. David has experience in a couple of different Unitarian Universalists, and you all have varying years and places that you have experienced Unitarian Universalism. And so if we made a Venn diagram of our familiar and favorite hymns, the place where it would all overlap would be very small. So this year, for the next 10 months, with input from David, I will choose a hymn of the month that we will sing every Sunday in that given month, and these hymns will relate to the theme. I've had success in previous congregations helping to build up a common hymnody. We're going to sit at the welcome table is listed in the very small communion section of our gray hymnal, but of course there are all kinds of tables. Kitchen tables, conference tables, picnic tables, coffee hour tables, and we want all of them to be welcome tables. Please rise now in body or in spirit for our hymn of the month. We're going to sit at the welcome table. may come forward. Our story this morning is called One Little Mouse. You might remember a few weeks ago I told you that our stories relate to what I talked to your grown-ups about, and today I'm going to talk to them about rest. So we have a story about a mouse trying to find some good rest. One little mouse took a look at his house deep in the woodland ground. This nest is too small, not roomy at all. There must be a new one around. Two blackish moles peeked out of their holes and called to the mouse passing by. "We have a fine nest in which you can rest," so little mouse thought he would try. But their diet was wormish, and that made mouse squirmish. He very soon said goodbye. Three meadow frogs were leaping from logs. "You'll like sleeping here," they said. Mouse thanked them politely, but curling up tightly, he found it too cold for a bed. With a wheeze and a sneeze, he was sure he would freeze. "This never will do," he said. Four bob-white quail ran up from the vale. "If you're looking for someplace to rest, we have a nice hollow, and if you will follow, we think we have room for a guest." But Mouse found it bumpy and clumpy and lumpy, just too many eggs in that nest. Five greeny snakes from meadows and lakes hissed, "Come home with us if you dare." "No, thank you," Mouse cried and hurried to hide. Snakes gave him a terrible scare. Six baby cottontails hopped along hilly trails. "Come, little mouse, share our bed." "Oh, thank you," said Mouse, "I'm in need of a house," and he happily laid down his head. But the cottontails bunched up and crunched up and hunched up, "And soon I'll be scrunched up," Mouse said. Seven gray squirrels ran in circles and swirls, then carried Mouse up to their nest. "You may stay here with us if you don't make a fuss," and Mouse said, "I'll do my best." But the nut nest was clicky and clacky and cracky. He left without one bit of rest. 8 chickadees flew in with the breeze. "We have a fine place in the willow." But Mouse said, "Dear me, I can't sleep in a tree. Imagine a branch for a pillow." 9 porcupine waddled by in a line. They called to the mouse, "Good day. We have a nice den right here in the glen." "Thank you," Mouse answered, "I'll stay." But their sharp quills were sticking and picking and pricking, so Mouse quickly went on his way. 10 small opossums were eating plum blossoms. "Come on, sleep with us," they were singing. They nodded his tail, and Mouse let out a wail to find himself suddenly swinging. "A terrible tizzy, I'm upside down dizzy. A mouse tail is not made for clinging." Then Mouse turned around to the darkening wood and scampered along just as fast as he could, back to his own little comfortable house, so tiny and tidy, just right for a mouse. And when evening shadows crept over the ground and covered the woodland, here's what was found. 10 small opossums asleep in the glen, 9 porcupine nestled up in their den, 8 chickadees roosting high in the willow, 7 gray squirrels using soft tails for pillows, 6 baby cottontails snug in their nest, 5 greeny snakes coiled up for a rest, 4 bob-white quail very still in the vale, 3 meadow frogs sleeping on logs, 2 blackish moles deep in their holes, and 1 little mouse, 1 tired little mouse, 1 content little mouse sound asleep in his house. Thank you for listening. We will sing you on your way to religious education. Go now in peace, go now in peace, may the love of
some words by Heather Christensen. Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. No matter its size, every congregation depends on each of its members. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make that grand vision real. Individually and together, we are Unitarian Universalists, building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. Our offering will now be taken with gratitude. To donate via debit or credit card, please use the QR code on the back of the order of service or go to www.uusavannah.org and click the donate button. Mailed checks are also welcome. Last two. We have several joys and sorrows this morning from Louise Frazier, a sorrow. September 1st, Friday, marked 11 years since my daughter Amy's best friend Emily Pickles was shot and killed in Savannah. Our country needs gun safety. And a sorrow from Judy Saucerman, sad to lose Jimmy Buffett. From Jessica Levitt, a joy. I officiated a wedding yesterday of two friends, joy at their union and love. From Raven, a joy. Today would have been my father's 123rd birthday. I will always cherish him. And from Sabrina and Leo Jones, oh, this is the other kind of card. Excuse me. We let us hold all our joys and sorrows, spoken and unspoken, in our hearts as we join together in the responsive reading found in your order of service. Sorrow is everywhere. As we mourn together, so we celebrate together. And offer thanks that we are not alone. So may it be now and in all the days to come.
Our words of meditation this morning from Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Dr. Robin Tanner. Some days, just put it away. Let tears fall, friends fail, the quiet of stars and water droplets from leaky faucet be your companion. Let the swell of the storm approach. Rest here in these distant woods with evening primrose and ivy climbing where the rains have not yet reached. Smell the earth as cicadas tell the only truth worth telling now. Remember the moon. Covenant with her as tides and time itself must. You will return someday. Amen. From time to time, National Public Radio puts out a call for a crowdsourced poem with a prompt, and then the poet Kwame Alexander takes the submission and creates a poem. And so today's first reading comes from back in March, A Blanket of Words, when the call was for submissions about napping. And I think it's important to credit people, so I'm going to read all of these names and then we'll get to the poem. They were submitted from James Breeden, Doug Thiel, Megan Dixon, Michael Sarin, Kaylee Burke, Lee Robinson, Sarah McCullough, Aaron Leupold, Grace Russell, Ellen Summers, Pippa Muhammad, Michael Gus, Kit Collard, Kierlyn Kennington, Carrie Granado, Nikki Cruikshank, Citali Espinoza Silvestre, Ashley Mitchell, Elena Schwartz, Dan Grote, Emily Mack, Ann Vanderland, Katie Lee, Felicito Fernando, Alyssa Whedon, Whitney Lewis, Terrence Parker, Anand Kennard, and Priyanka Singh. A blanket of words. If I could, I would like us to take a break. I would like us to contemplate how much better we all are with rest. I would like to take a restoring nap upon my king-sized bed to pile my pillows all around my head. A soft, warm, handmade quilt, my cozy nook to curl up with my favorite book into a blanket of words. Let's read each other bedtime stories as I drift into unconsciousness, disconnecting from today. I would like to pause just a few precious moments to calm my mind, to slide from my world of lists and piles of laundry, of last night's dishes from the sink. I would like to rest, but I have a test. I would like to sleep, but my work is too deep. I would like to give in to the pull of my eyelids, begging to close, but the email in front of me deserves a reply, so I sigh deeply and shrug, resisting their tug and attempt once again to compose. I would like to hide away for a bit of shut-eye in the middle of the day to the soft, quiet spaces of the old couch before the fire, dogs snoring at my feet, new snow drifting outside my window. I would like to lie my head on a pillow soft as a feather bed and let my body sink into repose as my eyelids slowly close. I would like to pull the pinpoint stars down from the sky. I'd weave soft moonbeams through them. To climb the stairs my imagination made, I would like to be a bird unburdened. I would like to be me, unbound. I just want to nap and wonder and wander and dream of letting go, ego dissolving like honey in tea, dreams where we can be everything we've ever wanted to be. I would like to fall asleep in my bed, unable to access the dread in my head. In my dreams, food, money, and life lack relevance. I would play with magic monkeys. I would like to live in a world where we dream when we fall asleep and do not face a nightmare when we wake. When I was a little girl, I had dreams of powers that could change the world. In my dreams, I could fly. Now I'm 17, and I no longer dream that I could be a fairy queen. I have dreams where I am invisible, and no one can see me. I would like answers. Why do we do what we do? Why do we learn how we do? We are no longer curious. We are no longer present. Exhausted zombies roaming the streets, toiling with no end in sight. We work to eat. We eat to live. We live to work. Real life beckons with every sheep we try to count, and when my head hits the pillow, the whole world falls away. I would like to rest my shoulders from their stand at attention, my brain from constantly narrating. I would like to, but I can't right now. Too much to do, not the right time. I have work to do, places to be. But what if I just flee and sleep endlessly? I would like to see you try. A moment of nothing, ceaseless wonder, boundless floors, infinite possibilities, and 1,000 more. I would like to find you in my dream, to hear your voice again, whistling wisdom and wit, stories and songs, sense of freedom, molecules of unconditional love. I would like to meet you in the space between asleep and awake, where we belong to both worlds and yet owe nothing to either place. I would like to feel again the familiar sensation of my hand in yours as we walked in strange and scary places while my heart beats loudly. I would like to listen more closely than the arrogant child that I was, who often dismissed your speech as dated and irrelevant. I would like to travel in a time machine to before the years passed and you died of old age, to apologize to you. Most of all, though, I would like to hear your joyful exhalation, brief and unmistakable. You're the only one I've ever known to laugh, even in your sleep. I would like to awaken in the afternoon sun, soft fingertips lifting an eyelid, your sweet voice, "Daddy, Daddy, you in there?" If I could, I would like to feel good, lay on the clouds and not fall through. I would like to surrender. I would like to rest in peace. I would like to rest my heart from the daily stabs of an unkind world. I would like to forget the faces whose judgments crowd my mind. I would like to be your pillow, the firmness to support you, the softness to embrace you. I would like to awaken and find it spring. I would like to be remembered as a fearless dreamer. I would like to shut my eyes and open my heart to nap, wrapped in silence. I would like to lay down in my bed, wake up better. Rise ready to battle the challenges every day brings, and then I would like to have another cup of coffee. Greet the bird song, the willow trees, the warmth of the sun. I would like to meet the bright new day embraced in love, refreshed anew, ready to change the world. But first I will dream of the world I will change, and then I will change it. But for now, I would like to dream. And my second reading from the prologue to Rest is Resistance by Tricia Hershey. People are waking up. People are waking up. People are waking up to the truth of their manipulation under toxic systems. People are waking up to heal. People are waking up to rest. We will no longer be a martyr for grind culture. Grind culture is a collaboration between white supremacy and capitalism. It views our divine bodies as machines. Our worth is not connected to how much we produce. Another way is possible. Our shared history is one of extreme disconnection and denial. We ignore our body's need to rest, and in doing so, we lose touch with spirit. In our bodies, we have our temples. It is the only thing we own. Our bodies are a tool agent for change, a site of liberation. Our bodies know the time to rest is now. Our collective rest will change the world because our rest resides in a spirit of refusal and disruption. Rest is our protest. Rest is resistance. Rest is reparations. Here end the readings. Our hymn, number 409, Sleep My Child, is of course a lullaby. And if it feels a little off for you to sing a lullaby in the morning without your child at your side, sing Sleep My Love, Sleep My Friend, Sleep My Child. Please rise in spirit or in body. Labor Day, celebrated in most places around the world on May 1st, and on the first Sunday in September here in the United States, is supposed to be about the workers, about those who have built our economy, our cities, our roads, about those who produce our goods and provide our services. You might remember a few years back, and I saw it again this morning actually, the movement, the labor movement, had a tagline, "The people who brought you the weekend and the 40-hour work week." Labor Day was supposed to be an extra day of leisure once a year, a day free from laboring when productivity doesn't rule our lives and we can enjoy a rest with family and friends. In 2023, Labor Day continues to be a day off for some, but not all, in our country. It's not a day off for those we've come to call essential workers, nor for people who work in fast food restaurants or gas stations or convenience stores. Folks who work in retail establishments that advertise huge Labor Day sales, they don't get the day off. Farm workers bringing in the harvest don't spend the day at barbecues or beaches. Labor Day is less about rewarding workers and more about a symbolic end to summer. Neighborhood pools close the next day. In some parts of the country, seasonal shops put up the shutters and see you next year signs, and cabin owners close up too. Whatever Labor Day has or has not meant for the labor force in general, and for individual workers and employers specifically, this weekend seems a fitting time to reflect on the changing rhythms of work and rest. Work is a hot topic in mainstream news and media. Quiet quitting, a misnomer that actually refers to completing the hours and tasks assigned without investing time and labor beyond contracted requirements. Lazy girl jobs, a poorly named concept that refers to jobs that lend themselves to quiet quitting. Remote work versus on-site work and who benefits from each. Unemployment rates, worker shortages, overtime for salaried employees. All of these have been in the news in just this past week. Meanwhile, rest is a hot topic in my ministerial circles and in activist circles and even occasionally on some mainstream media. Friday morning, I heard a repeat of an interview with Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith, author of Sacred Rest, Recover Your Life, Renew Your Energy, Restore Your Sanity. My Facebook feed is peppered almost every day with mentions of Rest is Resistance, a manifesto by Tricia Hershey, which we just heard from, and related content from Hershey's NAP ministry. Some examples. Exhaustion will not save us. Rest will. We must believe we are worthy of rest. We don't have to earn it. It is our birthright. It is one of our most ancient and primal needs. Productivity should not look like exhaustion. The concept of laziness is a tool of the oppressor. A large part of your unraveling from capitalism will include becoming less attached to the idea of productivity and more committed to the idea of rest as a portal to just be. You are worthy of rest. You don't have to earn it. Rest is not a luxury, a privilege, or a bonus we must wait for once we are burned out. I hear so many repeat the myth of rest being a privilege, and I understand this concept and still deeply disagree with it. Rest is not a privilege because our bodies are still our own, no matter what the current systems teach us. I am in awe at what our bodies can hold. We must lighten our loads. Survival is not the end goal for liberation. We must thrive. We must rest. Along with stealing your imagination and time, grind culture has stolen the ability for pleasure, hobbies, leisure, and experimentation. We are caught up in a never-ending cycle of going and doing. All those from Tricia Hershey. Well, Dr. Dalton Smith, a Black physician, ties rest to our psychological, physical, and spiritual well-being. Ms. Hershey, a Black liberation theologian and activist, anchors her understanding of rest on liberation from capitalism, grind culture, and the colonization of bodies, especially Black, brown, and female bodies. While their focuses are different, both women take rest and our need for it in 2023 seriously. The knowledge that rest is crucial for well-being is nothing new, of course. We all know that 8 hours of sleep a night is optimal, except it's really a range. There is really a range within which individual sleep needs vary. The importance of rest beyond the physical benefits of sleep has also been long known. I first learned the acronym HALT during my internship 30 years ago. Participants in 12-step programs know that being hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, HALT, are danger points. That when they recognize the signs of one or more of these conditions, they need to immediately tend to their self-care to lessen the chance of engaging in the addictive behavior. And of course, the concept of Sabbath, a rest from work every 7 days, a rest for the land every 7 years, is ancient. But there seems to be a new urgency to calls for rest. Maybe it's a trend without legs or substance, but maybe it is a response to something deep and troubling about this moment in time. Laptop computers and the internet transformed the ease and quality of work that can be done away from an office. Then the explosive proliferation of cell phones magnified the blurring of the distinction between work hours and leisure hours 1,000-fold at least. Then along came the pandemic, further muddling work time and personal time and family time, along with muddling everything else. Now we hear stories or experience them ourselves of bosses and supervisors who expect responses to text within minutes around the clock. Stories of the professional perils of not complying with such demands and the personal perils of complying with them. There have always been people who took work home with them or on vacation, whether by choice or expectation. In addition, interns and residents at hospitals and associates at large law firms have all worked notoriously long shifts, often at the expense not just of their physical life and their family life, but also at times endangering patients. But the phones we carry in our pockets and our handbags or never let out of our hands, our pockets make almost all of us available to the demands of work 24 hours a day if we allow it. Add in economic uncertainty persisting from the pandemic, and few of us feel secure enough to let the call go to voicemail or leave the text unanswered outside of work hours. White-collar workers are subject to grind culture via cell phone and Zoom and Google Meets. Other classes of workers have been subject to grind culture much longer by means of wage theft, mandatory overtime, company stores, no or unlivable minimum wages, inadequate labor protection laws, threat of deportation, and so on. There is no time to rest body and soul because job security is often scarce and paying the bills is a movable goal, less achievable all the time. The simple reality that such conditions of white-collar employment, skilled and so-called unskilled manual labor and service industry jobs is bad for our bodies and bad for our souls shouldn't seem revolutionary. But we've gone along with it so long and allowed the powers of capitalism to pit us against one another with the threat of not enough of anything to go around, that the idea that we not only need rest, but are worthy of rest, that rest is a means of resistance and a tool of liberation, this idea, this reality is revolutionary, even subversive. And the fact that Black women are at the forefront of calls to reclaim rest speaks to the history of whose bodies and souls have been deemed least worthy of rest and still are. When I searched this week for rest poems, Wendell Berry's The Peace of Wild Things, number 483 in our gray hymnal, came up again and again. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still waters, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Research abounds into the healthful benefits of the kind of rest Berry describes, sometimes called forest bathing after a Japanese practice. It can reduce the production of stress hormones, maybe sweat ones as well, lower heart rate and blood pressure, and boost the immune system. And these benefits aren't dependent on a total immersion in a forest or on the shore or in a meadow or marsh, such as the term bathing might suggest. Simply looking at trees brings similar results. Resting in the grace of the world is good for us, body and soul. But listen again to what the people in the crowdsourced poem said about napping. I would like to pause just for a few precious moments to calm my mind, to slide from my world of lists and piles of laundry and last night's dishes in the sink. I would like to be asleep in my bed, unable to access the dread in my head. I would like to give in to the pull of my eyelids, begging to close, but the email in front of me deserves a reply, so I sigh deeply and shrug, resisting their tug and attempt once again to compose. I would like to, but I can't right now. Too much to do. Not the right time. I have work to do, places to be. Exhausted zombies roaming the streets, toiling with no end in sight. We work to eat, we eat to live, we live to work. I would like to rest my heart from the daily stabs of the unkind world. Though the prompt was napping, the desires that the poets express are for a kind of relief, a kind of rest that no amount of lying in a hammock or curling up on a couch or snuggling into bed for 20 minutes or an hour can provide. Mixed in among the dream imagery are cries for liberation from grind culture. The problem with seeking to lie down where the wood drake rests or in another natural setting is that it is an individual solution to a societal problem. I urge you, of course, to take what rest when and where you can. You are worthy of it. Say no to another commitment, even if it's the church asking for your commitment. Tell us you need help. Turn off your cell phone. Remove your work email from your phone. I should have done that last night. Quiet quit if you have been over-functioning at work or in your volunteer commitments. Forest bathe if you can. Look at the trees in your yard if that's what you can manage. Go to restquiz.com to find out which of the 7 types of rest Dr. Dalton Smith identifies you are most in need of. Support one another in claiming our right to rest. Beyond all that, I urge you also, read Tricia Hershey's Rest is Resistance, a manifesto, or follow her nap ministry on social media. Begin to see when and how our culture uses exhaustion and overwork as tools of oppression. Begin to look for ways of supporting the rest of the people at the margins of our society, financially and with your votes and by what you ask of our lawmakers. The labor movement, you see, was never only about living wages and worker safety. It was also always about rest. 8 hours to work, 8 hours to play, 8 hours to sleep. The three are inextricably bound. Living wages pave the way for rest. Worker safety protects laborers from lost wages that would then drive the need for second or third jobs. Sufficient rest prevents work accidents. For most of us, our casual means of observing Labor Day have lost all connection to these roots. This Labor Day, may we begin to find our way back, using rest as our entry point for ourselves, for our neighbors, for the least among us, because we are all worthy, because as long as one of us is bound, none of us is liberated, because rest is resistance. Amen. Will you please rise in body or in spirit for our hymn number 15, The Lone Wild Bird. Your body is a site of liberation. It doesn't belong to capitalism. Love your body, rest your body, move your body, hold your body. Amen.